If we had a truly run free enterprise economy, we would have nothing called a false scarcity. They talk about communism and managed economy. That's a joke. One of the biggest and largest managed economies right here is right here in the United States of America, and we like to call it capitalism. And it's more managed than anything else. Look up what a patent does. A patent is nothing more than a form of managing the economy. Because you're saying, I wrote it in my book, As I See It, Class Warfare, the Only Resort for Right-Wing Doom. Before Amazon came out with a one-click cart, this lowly software developer, the idea, and when I was about to turn it into a product, did my little search and found out that even though Amazon at the time didn't have it, they patented the idea. Oh, patent an idea? Come on. Don't talk about Russia and managed economy. Talk about the United States and its managed economy using patents, using certain types of laws, using certain types of depletion laws. There are a lot of things in America that regulates our economy against you, the little man. But they never talk about that. They give you the impression like we are a capitalist country. It is the most efficient allocation of resources. It's a lie. Now talking about responsibility, right? Oh, the market will take care of everything. They want the government out of corporations' business. So they don't want the government doing anything for corporations. Okay, they said the market will adjust itself. In other words, if a corporation does bad things, we don't need regulations. The market will take care of it. The corporation would get sued and they'll be forced to do things. Okay. Is that really true? So then why are they doing this? And here is the New York Times article. White House and Congress clash over liability protection for businesses as firms cautiously weigh virus reopening plans. In other words, we don't want to reopen unless we get legislation that says all these lowly slaves that work for us, they can't sue us. Even if we create an environment that gives them coronavirus, meaning we don't clean down and all, they can't sue us. So we want no risk. We want protection. I thought the market should take care of that. If you can't open your store without giving folks coronavirus, then you shouldn't be open. The market should dictate that. Under your parlance, I think markets are a farce. I believe in free enterprise, a free enterprise market of people. But that's another thing. But check this out.
There's a new fight playing out in Washington this morning in a very big way. Democratic and Republican lawmakers clashing over who should be protected when millions of Americans return to work in the coming weeks. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell says companies must be protected or else they will face a second pandemic of litigation. The New York Times reports that behind the scenes, executives and business lobbyists are pushing the White House and Congress to pass such protections. They're called a liability shield. But Democrats argue that a blanket protection like this could let companies off the hook when it comes to protecting their workers and customers from coronavirus. Joining me now to discuss, President of the Service Employees International Union, which represents 2 million workers across the country, Mary Kay Henry.
I think it's outrageous that employers and corporations want to shirk their responsibility to workers and consumers and at the same time refuse to provide personal protective equipment, paid sick days, and health care to every worker in this nation. I was at McDonald's last week with striking workers who were told to wear coffee filters, were told not to advise their coworkers if they had tested positive for COVID-19, and all of whom cannot afford to stay home because there's no paid sick being provided and no affordable health care as a condition of that job. I think it's a time for reckoning in this nation. We have to decide to choose between the status quo, where we write the rules in favor of corporations, or where we deal with the pain and inequality that has existed and made worse by COVID-19 and make structural change for working people to be able to have a seat at the table and bargain a better life.
Not all employers are big companies or corporations or have big business lobbies. Half this country is employed by small businesses. What do you make of the argument that many small businesses say they simply cannot reopen if they're going to face a wave of litigation? We do know that there are a group of litigators, a big group, that are sort of circling the drain waiting here.
I think about the 30 million workers unemployed, the 64 million who earn less than $15 an hour and have never had paid sick or health care as a condition of work. And I think it's time for small business, working people, and our government to join together to make sure that we hold corporations accountable. And we think that happens by more workers being able to join unions and have structural change that allows us to bargain a better life.
I want to read for you something that stuck out to me from a public health professor at George Washington University. What is important about this pandemic is that it has shined a spotlight on workers who have always been essential, but before were invisible. How do we use this dire situation to finally right what has been wrong for so long?
Well, and you've heard from essential workers who now see themselves as sacrificial, not essential, because they aren't getting what they need to protect themselves, their families, and their coworkers. And that's why we think working people have to be able to join together in unions and bargain health care across sectors. Imagine if all healthcare workers were in unions and were able to do what our unionized healthcare workers have done to get not just hazard pay, but reimbursement for childcare, reimbursement for temporary housing. That's what's happening in unionized companies, and that's what should be happening all across the economy for service and care workers everywhere.
So what is it like for workers right now who their businesses are reopening, they have to go back to work or they won't get unemployment, and they've got kids who are home while school is closed?
They're putting their lives on the line every day. It's an increasingly dangerous situation because the president's refused to do his job and use the Defense Production Act to provide the personal protective equipment that every essential worker needs. We have nursing home workers have gowns in trash bags, and then fast food workers being told to use masks that are coffee filters. We could do better. Those workers who are being forced to return to work have to be able to have the protective equipment they need.
Essential workers are nothing but sacrificial workers. It is important that we understand what these politicians are doing. All these corporations are supposed to make these huge profits and have all these great benefits because they take risk. But anytime it is time for them to take risk, they run to Papa government. Please take this risk away from us. Student loans? Okay, we'll give the student loans, government, but you take the risk. We'll do the loans for the small businesses. Okay, government, you take the risk, but we'll give the loans and we'll put a tax on that and make some money. No risk. We have to start getting smart. We are a socialist state for corporations and an evil capitalist state for the average American worker. I'm Egberto Willies, host of Politics Done Right, an independent news program. I post several news videos of interest every day. I ask you so kindly to subscribe to my channel and please leave me some comments. Thank you very much.